Man, the ice storm has hit North Carolina, but not in the way you would expect. Immigration's Custom Enforcement and different other agencies have swept across North Carolina, starting in Charlotte, I believe, and working their way over. Reports have them as far as the other side of Wake County. I've seen as many as 250 arrests so far, some of them with criminal background, some of them not. What are you seeing, Chris?
That's the same thing that I've been seeing. I've been seeing videos all day pumping out. I've been putting them out as well. But yesterday, the reason I wanted to do this topic today is I was out and about in Cary yesterday, and a guy that I was working with, we had a few different stops in some very nice, prominent neighborhoods in Cary. And something we're always used to seeing when we're out and about is there's landscapers everywhere. Landscapers, tradesmen, workers doing work everywhere. And it was eerie inside of these neighborhoods yesterday. It was just a strange feeling that was happening out here.
And apparently, it's not just that. The numerous business closures, numerous restaurant closures, numerous absences from schools across the whole area.
Mm-hmm.
The absence of people showing up with the pre notifications ahead of time apparently has made a big impact on who's been out and about today. But even with that, still a significant amount of arrests.
Yeah, what was that number? Wasn't it like 20,000 kids across, I don't know which county it was.
This is a quote from CBS 17. Educational leaders across the triangle are on high alert as well with these agent reports. This comes after more than 20,000 students were absent from school amid the Charlotte Web operation, where 130 arrests were made.
I hate that they called it Charlotte's Web. Like, I hate that they're taking a beautiful story from my childhood and just, what do you call it? Demonizing it.
That's what they like to do. Use
That is
a
the
keyword
regime.
and destroy it.
Here, let's see what some ICE operations in Charlotte.
All right, pause.
Yes.
They
Go for it.
came up to a car, they destroyed the window, beat on the person, supposedly, because they had to pull them out of the car. These people aren't getting out on their own necessarily. And some of these videos that I've seen of them pulling these people out, it's really aggressive. Now, I did sit there and think, okay, if this person's not going to get out of the car and they actually are, illegal or whatever.
A gang member from El Salvador? Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that happening. But they were also just walking up to cars with people that were brown and checking on them. And there's been a lot of cases with civilians being detained, apparently, people that were born in the United States.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. I made a few videos today that are kind of going semi-viral on like Instagram and TikTok, and all the comments are the same. They're just like, well, don't hire illegal immigrants, or it's sickening to see how many people are still carrying water for this regime.
I think that point alone brings up a topic that has really bugged me. So when I very first started this, you remember that whole conversation they had about, well, why are they attacking schools? Why are they attacking churches? Why are they attacking places where people are not having problems or acting up? And then they started attacking farms where they were attacking where they thought they could find them grouped together and make it a viable raid, right? It's not like one agent's walking around or two agents are walking around the street and just happen to pass a brown person. No, they're specifically targeting people where that demographic is more likely to be. I mean, I understand from a logistics standpoint, but you got to realize these people that are on farms and are in churches or in schools, they're not breaking the law unless you want to go, well, they're here illegally to breaking the law. But what you never hear is the people that hired them having anything happen to them. In fact, you talk about the farm workers, Trump even mentioned, well, maybe we'll give them some kind of work release so they can go back to working on farms. It's like, so why did you mess with them in the first place? Just give them temporary visas or whatever. The value and the danger doesn't play if you're willing to let them back. Anyway, but I haven't heard about one business owner even getting fined over this. It's only been the attack on the actual people.
And that tells you what their aim is. It doesn't matter.
But the argument of don't hire them doesn't match up with penalizing when they do. Right. And then on the top of it, there was another post recently I saw where a person, started making calls because they needed something done to their home and they couldn't find a company that was going to come out and do any work. And they said construction sites are at a standstill, home repairs are at a standstill, service jobs in general are starting to slow down, and businesses are obviously being impacted. This is more than just taking down criminals. This is taking down the location
In
in a reality,
economies, you're
in
taking
the economy.
economies down.
And
Like,
I
this is crazy.
and I think we have a very well established pattern of behavior here. It's hit the areas that are sanctuary cities or places that try to help immigrants, regardless of illegal or not, and try to provide them a better life. The American way, provide a better life for the people here. And he's not targeting red states. He's not targeting red areas. He started with Charlotte, which is a blue area. Now he's in Raleigh, Durham, Cary, which is a purple area. He's very specifically targeting areas that aren't fighting back enough legally using the legislation. I mean, look what happened with Chicago. Legislation and courts made it hard for them to stay. Anyway, but this is not about getting criminals because criminals exist in red states too. So where are those crackdowns? Why aren't you in Florida doing this? Why
Right.
aren't you in
Arizona.
or New Mexico, or like why aren't you in the border states where they come over?
Yeah.
Like why are you all the way up in Portland? Why are you all the way up in Chicago? Why are you all the way up here in North Carolina?
North Carolina. Yeah.
I can tell you the immigrants are not crossing the border from Mexico into
North Carolina.
North Carolina. That's not a thing. So, like, why are you here, bud?
Hey, let me run this theory by you that I have. So have you noticed Marjorie Taylor Greene she's almost a Democrat, it seems like. Like, she is kind of going against Trump and the regime, but I have this theory, and it kind of made more sense yesterday when I was going through what I was going through. Marjorie Taylor Greene owns a construction company. I imagine her laborers are mostly Latino and undocumented. And so all of a sudden, now she's starting to raise her voice really loud about, I think she does care about the Epstein stuff, but I think at the same time is tripping about her labor. She's standing to lose a lot of money if she can't get laborers out to her job.
Where is she at? Georgia. Yeah, so think about it. Like, Georgia probably has plenty of the. So I didn't find this out until a few years ago, but Georgia, Atlanta specifically, is one of the main spots where Africans come in when they come into the United States. That's like one of the big cities, and there's a high amount of Africans there. The ones I know were legal, but I mean, who knows what the ratios look like? Why aren't they hitting Georgia? Why aren't they looking for Hispanics down there? Why aren't they looking? I mean, that's southern, so I mean, it's more southern than here. Why aren't they looking down there and all the crops and the fields and like I don't
It seems
understand.
like they're not really just targeting. It seems like they're only targeting Latino. Like, if you're Asian, they did an Asian raid on a car manufacturer here once, but it doesn't.
That went bad.
Right. But it doesn't, it really seems like it's racism against the Latino community in particular, more than the blacks, more than the Asians, and any other variety of brown that's out there. Like, I'm kind of brownish.
Well, South Americans in general have been heavily demonized by media and the right wing and for generations at this point. If you remember back to the caravan stories and you remember back to all
Every election, there's another caravan.
There's coyotes and some of that is actually real. But the last caravan wasn't full of Hispanics. It was full of Middle Easterns and Ukrainians, if I remember correctly, something like that.
Crossing the southern border?
Trying to cross the southern border to get into the U.S. after the start of the Ukrainian war. Trying to get to their families and friends over here. And they couldn't get over because of all the changes to policy.
This regime uses the southern border as a boogeyman. Whoever's coming across, we got to stop this invasion. It is ridiculous. Like, I don't really feel like anybody genuinely feels invaded. I think you were told that. If you ever say that, it's because your supreme leader kept saying it over and over and over, and now you just repeat it. Well, but no, who really feels invaded in our country?
Well, the party line was they're taking their jobs, they're taking their homes, they're taking their money, they're taking their opportunities for a better life. And what has played out basically is look in the areas where the immigrant population was decimated by ICE. Those individuals and businesses and whatnot are having trouble finding people to work at the skill level, at the speed, the efficiency, and the pay rates, the ability to show up regularly. Like every one of those industries has been significantly hit. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, numerous businesses have closed down and just had worlds of trouble, to the point to where our president then started backtracking, and then they started discussing ways for some of the illegals to stay. And they got in trouble for that too. If you remember correctly, it's like, well, if they were owned by the farm owner, then maybe it'd be okay. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We've heard this terminology before. That's called slavery, bud.
Yeah, dude.
And, they started talking about slavery. And that just goes to show you that this isn't really thought through. This isn't really understood. It's definitely singling out blue areas specifically. It's not about getting rid of the illegals. It's about hurting the democratic areas and showing force against democratic areas,
Fear.
and anybody who won't vote for the Republican Party in mass, like, it's very obvious. And that's the reason they haven't hit Florida. It's the reason, like, Florida and Texas probably has more illegals per head than anywhere else. I'm just guessing. I don't have the numbers, but probably.
Or
Like,
Texas.
those are the two places where most people cross the border. You have the people crossing by boat in Florida, and you have people crossing by foot in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas and California and Florida. Those
Arizona.
are the big ones. And they did hit LA a little bit at the very beginning, but Texas is one of the largest border crossings that I understand, and we have not hit Texas.
And we
So
won't. And we won't. Here's an
why?
unpopular
Because
opinion.
Texas is gerrymandered red.
Right. Here's an unpopular opinion. Our economy, the United States economy, is built on labor from illegal immigrants, and that is understood. The fruit agriculture, construction labor, you'd be hard pressed to ask any business owner in those fields and see that they all hired American citizens. Like, our economy is built on that. We can't withstand all of this labor leaving the market. It's not going to hold up.
So one of the hard parts to that is replacing it with the level of skill, tenacity, motivation,
Yeah.
and for the price. It was said before this all started that, where they tried it in smaller areas like in Florida, back before Trump took power, the governor of Florida tried some crackdown with ICE, and roofing companies basically went out of business. Different fruit harvesting and farm harvesting
The labor
imploded.
companies.
You heard about food rotting in the fields because there was nobody to go pick it up. And you remember the flights that they did? It's like, oh, we're going to fly all these immigrants from Florida to New York or to
That was such a dumb political
Seattle,
stunt.
and at millions of dollars of taxpayer expense. That proved right then that this whole philosophy is fundamentally broken, because even then, the backfill of the American born individual didn't happen with the quality, the quantity, the price, the efficiency, the things that the illegals were bringing to the table, or the immigrants that were legal bringing to the table. So, it failed there. And then they tripled down on it as a terror tactic against the Democrats. That's all this is.
Yeah. And there's like, what can we do at this point as citizens other than vote when we can? Like right now, I just watched this video. This guy showed up at a big construction project and he walked through it. There was nobody there, like on a Tuesday. It's like, man, how is our economy going to hold that up? There's a lot of projects going on, road construction projects, government projects, I'm sure.
As hard as it is to hear, and as much as I don't want this to happen, this feels like I share the pain moment. So,
Mhm.
by so many individuals staying at home, staying away, staying hidden, and Frank style to some extent, it does provide for shortages at companies. And they're going to remember this. They're going to say, I was negatively impacted by this, or I went out of business because of the behavior of our president and our leadership. And that'll change the vote. It'll change it.
That's true.
And in a lot of businesses, it's called sharing the pain. It's like when there's something not right and management won't get on it, make sure that you squeak as a wheel that's being ground down to make sure that they understand it, or buck up the responsibility in some ways. And by not participating in the businesses, by not buying a business, by not showing up, they're showing just how integral these individuals are. And all the people are like, well, I shouldn't have done this, or I don't, they're going to find out the hard way after we're going to find out. So the best thing that I've seen, and I don't know the legality of this. I can't say if this is legal, but if you see ICE agents report it to that app that supposedly tracks them, put them out on different social media platforms so that everybody can see it and let their friends know and whatnot. You've heard about Rick Hendrick Automotive?
No.
Rick Hendrick Automotive has had documents shown, leaked, that they are providing by selling the vehicles that ICE is using in North Carolina. So you want to hurt a business that is supporting ICE, don't buy from them. Now you know.
Damn
And
it,
if
my
anybody
brother-in-law
doesn't
works for
believe
them.
me, feel free to go Google it. Do what you feel is right. And it's hard too because like I know people at some of these Rick Hendrick dealerships and they're really nice. They've done right by me for some of the time I've been to them. And like I hate that their corporate has put them in this bad situation, but at the same time, do you want to keep paying large amounts of money to a company that's just going to turn around and help your fellow citizens get Anne Franked? I mean,
Are we in a position where we're going to have to vet every company and try to figure out which political leanings they have in order to buy a product or a service?
we're already there. And if you go look at numerous different lists that have been put together, I, that started during Trump's inauguration. Meta, Apple, Microsoft,
Google?
Nvidia, like the big tech bros all donated was it $1 to $5 million to Trump's inaugural party once he won the election. And
Yeah.
that was supposed to buy them favor. And ever since then, they've been slowly and regularly donating. If you want a more recent list, the donor list for the ballroom for the White House went live. Feel free to go and
Dock some of them?
abstain, no, not docs, abstain from buying from those individual companies or using those individual platforms. So, and I want to say this because this is fun. Because you don't pay to use Facebook, you are the product. If you don't buy the product, you are the product. For Facebook, Meta, Google, those companies, you are the product.
It's a good way to think about it.
Your habits, your usage, your communications, scanned, sent, transmitted, sold, behaviors are sold to ad companies and to the government. Anyway. And then there's other things. If you really want to get better at this, there's a tool that I've been paying attention to called Graphene OS. And it's a super secure, super protective operating system that you can install on Google Pixel phones. So you could buy a used Google Pixel for anybody who needs this, whether you're American or not.
We are
Giving
not
you an
sponsored
option.
by them, but we wish to be. So if you guys are hearing
No,
this,
they don't.
we don't
Graphene
sponsor.
is a open source nonprofit company.
Okay.
I'm really impressed with their tooling. I hope they do well because even I want to use it. So it allows you to have things like you can disable the USB port on the phone. You can put a poison pin in so that like, oh, I'm being harassed by ICE agents. They want to do something. Okay, here's my pin. It wipes the phone before they can't be scanned by the ICE hardware that they run around with.
Ugh.
Like, I don't know if most people know this, but ICE has tech. They can snatch your phone without a warrant, plug it into this device, and download everything you have, scan it for whatever they want. In fact, ICE has been found to have detained several people based on the contents that they grabbed off of a phone out and about and trying to cross the border into the United States. There's a very weird case where a handful of months ago, a Canadian was entering the U.S. via the Canadian-U.S. border. He was stopped. His phone was seized. He was searched. There was that meme picture of JD Vance where he's
Yeah, the
overweight,
baby.
has a beard and no hair, and they detained him, and I think they deported him back or
There
something.
has
I don't
been
remember.
plenty of those. There's been a lot of those. I saw one recently. A guy, he was a former Marine or something. He had posted some anti-Israel stuff, and the FBI came to his door. But he knew
Yeah,
his rights, and he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?"
if you want to share the pain, like just spread the information about ICE. Don't share anything else on any social media platform for the
Yeah.
next 6 months. That'll really show it.
Share this video too. Share this with everyone.
Yeah, Google Pixel phones have that. There's something on Android phones called a private folder that has similar capabilities for some of these things. Start using, I think it's Signal that you can start using as communication. It has two-way encryption, so they can't break it as easily if you don't give them the information.
Hmm.
There's a variety of different tools that you can use to start hiding information. And this is to mimic what happened. So if we go back to Nazi Germany, there was communication of different kinds of ciphers and texts or back channels to get information between different groups, that kind of stuff. And use the tooling that we have that's available out there for free, product or not product, do what you can to protect yourself from being invaded. What I feel like is illegal search and seizure, but whatever. And there's another thing too that's going around where ICE is taking phones and forcing deletes of videos and pictures and that kind of stuff. Even if you're an American citizen, not brown, they're doing this. Having these protection levels and whatnot. On iPhone, there's a way to do, I think if you click the power button 5 times, pause for a second and click it again, it turns off the Retina face unlock and or the face unlock. So they have to give you a code. And I mean, legally, you're not required to give them a code. They can't. And if they detain you, it's an illegal detainment. So enjoy your law.
And I think a big reason why this is so messy is because most of these ICE agents are unqualified. They're
Oh, it's worse than that. Trump told in a recent interview about ICE that they weren't being aggressive enough. They weren't being brutal enough.
yeah.
He's encouraging this behavior. He's saying, break the law, break the Constitution, get me my numbers, hurt these people very blatantly. In fact, there was an executive order that he had where if an ICE agent thought there may be an illegal immigrant in a house without any proof whatsoever, that they can kick the door and go in and search for them. That is illegal search and entry. It is breaking the law. It is breaking and is felony breaking and entering. So, and the other thing too is there are help. Like I don't have them off the top of my head. I encourage everybody watching this video, if you are not happy with what's going on, go Google it. There's posts all over the place about if you see these, call this information. If you know anybody that's getting caught up in this, call these lines. There are nonprofit groups and lawyer firms and others out there that are trying to help that aren't getting recognized and known, but they are out there. If you go do a little bit of searching for, Raleigh ICE custody help or something, I don't know, you might be able to find some resources. And like if you find one and you want to really help, but you're not one of the demographic, go print out 1,000 of them and go stick them up everywhere and hand them out to Hispanics. Blast it out, yeah. So there's ways to go out and help and do these things. If you really want another way, go buy some burner phones, one of those cheap pay-as-you-go phones, and leave your good phone at home for now. Like go spy tech on this. Like there's nothing. They can't track a burner phone you pay for cash from the local gas station. They can't do anything with that. And they're not going to get anything off of it, too. Go dumb phone. They can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
Like, not
There are
having
things.
it.
There are things we can do as a community.
And if you are going to be out there taking videos and taking pictures, make sure you're uploading them to some kind of secure storage that they won't have access to. I've seen a lot of people doing TikTok, which is really cool because you can upload to TikTok, break your phone, they can't do anything. Or lock your phone or poison pin it or whatever, or just deny them access. And they can't undo it. So, like, go ahead and upload it to somewhere and then come back later and share it.
I'm surprised the FBI hasn't showed up at my door yet. Hey, we saw a video you posted last week. Really? Did you?
But I mean, the biggest thing here is if you don't like what's going on, go protest peacefully, legally, not violently, peacefully. Make sure it's peaceful. I saw some people in the last few days out there protesting on different intersections.
Here too, yeah.
Go make sure these people know that we're not mad. Call in the sightings to the different information. There's an app on iPhone and Android that lets you coordinate the spotting of these individuals. But most importantly, go vote in every election for people that are going to up the chain. And voting for local doesn't seem as empowering until you realize that they help handle things like how districts are managed or how votes are counted or access to voting equipment, things like that. And that will make a difference on the larger elections, your ability to actually go vote on those. Voting for a judge could change everything for the history of the country. Just saying.
All right, well, let's leave it there. You know what I'm going to do about it? In a half hour, there is a Democratic meeting in Pittsburgh at the town hall or whatever. I'm going to go there and check it out and see what that's about. Make my voice heard. I'm going to make a bunch of videos too. So if you guys see this, hit subscribe.
Hey, if you can, live stream it to TikTok and other socials. Get it out there.
Yeah, I might. I might. But until next time, thanks for tuning in to Almost Above Average. I'm Chris McIntyre. That's J Train McGee representing.
Miggy.
We'll, we'll see you later.